everyone. Thanks for joining us today. So today, as you know, since this is the real estate user group, we'll be focusing on issues faced by the real estate industry, and we'll be seeing how Zoho SalesIQ can help you deal with some of those issues, right? So without further ado, we'll get into the presentation. So today, this is what we are going to be focusing on. We'll take a look at some of the problems faced by the real estate industry. For those who are new, who haven't used SalesIQ before, or have just recently started using it, we'll have a short description of what SalesIQ is and what it can do. And then we'll see how Zoho SalesIQ can help you with the problems that we just saw that's faced by the real estate industry. And then we'll open it up to you guys for question and answers. So the real estate industry is in a lot of ways similar to other businesses, and in a lot of ways it's very different from other businesses, right? So these are some of the problems faced by the real estate industry. Trying to find leads, whom you can grab onto and continue the sales cycle can be a hard thing. Getting to know what your leads are interested in, because most of the conversations happen through phone call or any other written medium, so it's very hard to gauge what really the leads that you have are interested in. The next thing is, you might have a lot of leads, but by the time you find the customer who the lead who will probably become a customer, you lose them to a competitor, right? And obviously we will see how you can improve your sales and support so that your customers have a good time interacting with you, and your sales and support representatives have a good time when they interact with the customers as well. And then we'll see how SalesIQ can help you with getting the best, as much as possible, return of investment, when it comes to advertisements and investing. So SalesIQ. So the name is somewhat self-explanatory. So it helps you with selling smarter. SalesIQ is one of the products that primarily works with the website. So nowadays, any business, it's very hard to find a business that doesn't have a website. Not necessarily with websites, it can also work with other channels as well. So one of the things that SalesIQ is very good at doing is tracking visitor activity. You might as well stand behind the visitor of your website. Just stand behind them and look at what tabs of your website they're seeing, how long they are on each page, what pages they are visiting, how they are interacting with the website. SalesIQ does that for you, except you don't have to be standing behind them. It gives you a lot of information about how your website visitors use your website. And obviously, no sales and support can be done without chatting or talking to the customers. SalesIQ helps you with that as well. And SalesIQ is very simple to integrate with any platform. Let it be a social media platform or your website or a phone app. It's very easy to integrate. So it's very it might sound like I'm exaggerating how easy it is, but I'll show you in a second how easy it is, and you'll believe me. And other than how your visitors use your website, you also get other data points. For example, when you integrate with other apps such as CRM or Desk, since you have some information that overlaps, for example, a user's email ID, through SalesIQ, you can see what the deal stages of a particular lead or a contact, or what support queries they've raised on Desk. When you're interacting with a customer through SalesIQ, you can take a look at it through the interface by these integrations. So there are a lot of powerful integrations. Today we'll be looking at CRM, since most of the topic is because of focusing on leads and contacts. And like I said, it's not just supporting websites. You can also use it on your phone apps. Instead of just chatting through your phone, you can also use it through social media, so that any business, rather than just having a website, if they have a social media page, for example, Instagram or something like that, customers can directly talk to you through the Instagram messaging service or through WhatsApp service, right? So it's not limited, it's very flexible. But this multi-channel support in mobile SDK, we're going to save it for another day, and we'll take a look at the other points through the presentation. Let me give you a quick tour of the website that I have prepared for today. I'm not a real estate guy, so it's going to be very simple compared to the real estate websites that the industry, the businesses that you guys have going on. So to keep it simple, I've just used Zoho sites, right? And this is my website. Nothing fancy, very simple. The homepage lists a number of properties that users, your website visitors can take a look at. They can go to another page and see all of them in the same place. There's a get in touch page where there's a form that they can fill in and request to be contacted, and a page about themselves as well. So obviously you will have much more departments. For example, instead of just having properties for sale, you might have rent, properties for rent. You might have a section dedicated to renovating a particular, a real estate listing. The use cases are limited only by your imagination, right? So this is the website that I have prepared for today's use case, and we'll use this throughout the demo. So let's get into the topic for today. We'll take a look at a number of real estate, the problems faced by the real estate industry, and how Zoho SalesIQ can help with solving some of them. So the first one, lead generation. For a real estate industry, generating leads can be hard. For example, let's imagine an e-commerce website, right? You can show a pop-up to get them to sign up, right? You can say, if you sign up, we'll give you a welcome offer, or we'll give you a discount code, and get users to sign up. And through that, you can get their email ID and you can continue the sales process. But lead generation through the real estate industry can be pretty hard. It's may not be such a normal thing to do, saying I'll give you a 50% discount if you sign up on the website, right? So all you can do is you can place an ad, hope people see it, right? Hope they find your website, hope they contact you through the number that's listed on the ad, and through that you'll be able to get some sort of information. Unfortunately, a lot of times the next step is what the customers do, right? You have very little control over how the leads are generated. Of course, there is a contact us form on the website that you can have, but not everybody who visits the website wants to be contacted, and obviously nobody likes spam, right? So there's a lot of precautions that people take when it comes to providing their personal information on a website. So it's very hard to catch hold of people's personal details, especially when it's necessary for you to use those to continue with the sales cycle. So we'll see how SalesIQ can help you with that lead generation. The first solution that we'll be looking at is chat triggering. Like I said, SalesIQ, one of the things SalesIQ can do is, when a visitor is on your website, you can trigger a chat to them and start a conversation proactively with them and try to get the information from them so that you can continue the sales cycle, right? So this takes away the responsibility of continuing the sales cycle from the user's side, from the customer's side, and it gives you the responsibility of how to handle it and taking the sales process forward, right? So all you have to do is just set up a chat trigger on the website, and it opens up. It asks for the customer's email ID and name. If they enter it, great, you have a lead. It's much better than visitors coming to your website, just taking a look at it and going away. For example, your backend team or your server side team might tell you the website is getting hundreds of hits or thousands of hits every day, but the number of people calling you or filling out the contact form, maybe tens or 50 people a day. So that's not really the ratio that any business wants, right? So this chat trigger is one nice way to get information from the customer without it being forced upon them. So we'll just see how SalesIQ, you can do this with SalesIQ. Like I said, SalesIQ is very easy to integrate into your website, and we'll take a look at it when we are doing this. So this is the SalesIQ's main landing page. This is the live view. So if you already have a Zoho One subscription, you can just add it by clicking on the left side here, right? If you're not a Zoho One subscriber, if you have only SalesIQ, of course, SalesIQ is a standalone application. You can use it without any other applications or integrations. So this chat trigger is independent of other integrations, right? So I'll just click the settings button. We have this triggers option here, right? So you just click the triggers option. You add a trigger rule. I'll just say ask information. So brand is just another fancy word, fancy SalesIQ word for website. So that's it. Let's say one thing you don't want to do is every time a visitor comes to your website, you don't want to ask them, what's your name and email ID? What's your name and email ID, right? That's going to be very intrusive. That's going to drive people away from your website, and we definitely don't want that. But for the sake of this example, let's say the let's say let's say the time on site is greater than 0 seconds. So as soon as this condition is met, I want the chat trigger to be sent, right? So as soon as they land on the website, I'm going to say trigger a chat invite, right? Send a chat invite. Any name can be given. I want it to be sent immediately, right? 1 second. So I'll save this for now. So integrating SalesIQ is very easy. So you just go to brands. Like I said, brands is just another SalesIQ fancy term for website. You click the brand, you click installation. Like I said, SalesIQ can work on other platforms as well. But for today's demonstrations, we'll just be looking at the website use cases. Click website. You have the code ready to go. Copy the code. So like I said, I'm using Zoho Sites for this. I'll just go into customization, code. I just paste this in the photo code, right? Nothing fancy, nothing serious. The code that was given by SalesIQ, I'm just adding it to my website. So I'm just publishing it. Okay, so it's now been published. You see here, there wasn't any chat or anything triggered, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to open this in an incognito window. Did you see that little chat thing that showed up on the corner? So let me reload it here. So this is SalesIQ, right? This is the chat section of SalesIQ. So for the conditions that I set, as soon as the customer landed on the website, I'm just showing it up. Obviously, you would want it maybe after he visits 10 times your website 10 times, or after he visits 10 days consecutively. That's up to you. So I'm just going to say hi. How do you like to be addressed? Charles. abcd@gmail.com. So now that I've given my email address, SalesIQ can track me based on my email. So what we want to do is, since this involves a lead, so like I said, SalesIQ lets you chat with your customers through the website. So see, the chat that I sent there is shown here, and I can just continue it from here itself. So since this is going to involve leads and contacts, I'm going to integrate it with CRM as well. So this is my CRM settings. I'm just going to go into chat, get started, and I'm just going to say associate account. So I want the new visitors to be pushed as leads, and this notification doesn't matter, right? So this is saved. The code that you saw earlier that I took on SalesIQ, you can take it from here as well. There's literally no difference. So now if anyone, let me, right?
This chatbot, which shows up on the screen of the website, can we kind of change the colors and everything to match our website and our branding?
Yes, you can. Let me just show you.
Thank you.
Another question that hasn't been asked yet, but it will be asked, is can you install all of this on a WordPress site?
Yes, you can. So even if you're not using any fancy apps. For example, let me show you something. So let me just take the same code. Let me go to w3schools.com. So if you're familiar with this, see, so you just paste the code wherever you want on any website and you'll be able to get it to run. It's that simple. I was talking about, does it answer your question, Pete?
It was a rhetorical question. Yes, we have it running on a WordPress website. It works great.
Yeah, you'll be able to. That it's pretty simple. So let me in brands. If you just click brands and say personalization, so here you can change how the pop-up looks and colors, anything that you want. You'll be able to change how the visitor is greeted, anything. Is this?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the lead has been finally added in the CRM. So instead of waiting on the user to send you information, installing SalesIQ and asking them for it straight up is an easy way for you to get information. And SalesIQ also tracks, like I said, it gives you a lot of other information as well. For example, like you can see here, the average time spent on the website, the visitor score. I'll tell you in a minute how many days he's been visiting it, when he visited it first, what page he's visited. There's so much information that you get. And when you turn on the integration between SalesIQ and CRM, there's this tab that gets enabled. There's this module called visits, which previously you won't have access to. So that gets enabled, and you can see all the information about a particular user's visits on your website. So where they are from, which portal they've been visiting, what device they use, and all sorts of information that you can use within CRM. For example, you can set any number of workflows and use this information to your advantage. So that's how you use the chat trigger to start this. So this filtering the potential needs is one thing that we didn't talk about. Like I said, you don't want the chat trigger to be sent to every single user who visits your website. So there you can set up, like I said, I had set it to 0 seconds. For example, if you wanted a user has to be on the website minimum 10 minutes before I think that he's a worthy potential lead, then you can set it that way, and you can ask the information and try to get it from him. The second thing, so knowing your leads, right? So the first way was you're trying to get the information from them. The second way is you already have some information, or the user is willing to give you some information. For example, they are willing to fill the contact form, or they are leads or contacts who are already in your system, right? The first way is they are coming to the website and you add them to the system. The second way is you have some sort of information about them, but you want to track them and see how they're browsing the website. So we'll take a look at this as well. So the contact form, like I showed you, this is a CRM contact form which loads here. So the CRM contact form, by default, you can set it to add the information to a lead or a contact. But if you enable SalesIQ, you'll also be able to do this. For example, let me go into this web form. This is the web form that I've integrated on the website. So you'll see the same information. So if I just click next, there's this one visitor tracking option that is available, right? So if you turn this on and click save, and make sure you have to reload it on the website as well, because the code for the form changes. So now any user who fills the form, not only do they get added as a lead or contact based on how you configure it, they will also be tracked automatically by SalesIQ, so that you don't have to ask them again for their name and email address to start tracking them, right? So if they are willing to give them their information, you can start tracking them without nagging them for it again. So once this form is changed, you just have to make sure to change the form that's already on the website. So this is the form that I've already have on the website. So I'll just reload the form. I'll save it. And once you publish it, the only difference is instead of them just being added as a contact or a lead, they will also be tracked by CRM. So I'll just make sure I don't enter a different email address that's already there. So I'll just say abc@gmail.com. Right. Right. Thanks, Pete, for testing it out. So Charles has been added to the system through the form, and as he uses the website, his information will be, his activity will be tracked and used here, and you will be able to update it as more and more information comes in. And the third way is, assume you already have somebody in the system, but you're not able to track them, right? So let me create a lead. Let me say the Charles last name is Samuel. ad@gmail.com. Right. So one thing that we do with all the leads and contacts is we try to build the relationship with them, right? So we try to send mails to them. One of the things is we try sending an email. So now that I have SalesIQ enabled here, if I click a send email, notice this option that pops up here. So SalesIQ link. So this scenario is I have the user's information in my system. I have them as a lead, but I don't know what sort of interaction they're doing with my website. So if I want to know it, I have to ask them directly, but I don't want to do it because it's very tedious, right? So if I just say Zoho SalesIQ link, and let me just enter the same website's link here, you see these parameters that are added. So when a user clicks this link, SalesIQ will know that it's this person with this email ID who's using this computer, this website, and it will automatically start tracking on that laptop, that website or browser from then onwards. So you won't have to ask for that information by yourself. So if I just paste this here.
Charles, I might point out also that were you to take that same link and add that to your signature on all emails that you send out, irrespective of whether it has anything to do with Zoho or not, when someone clicks on that, then it tracks it in Zoho. And as you'll point out in just a minute about the score,
yes,
it will increment the scores if it's someone that's already in your CRM. It's a tremendous tool.
That's one good thing about the score. You can set it according to what your business and what your industry's need is, and you can play with it however you'd like. So now yes.
Sorry, just a question. I'm not sure if you're going to go into that. So the contact us form, two questions actually. One is, how do you avoid getting spammed? Because we have a current contact us form which is not linked like this. So I prefer obviously this way, because obviously you can just, it's going to make the leads itself. We've put something on it. So can it avoid any spamming or phishing emails? And secondly, again, can we add any questions that we want?
Questions that you want in the contact us form?
Yes, can we have additional information in there?
Yes, of course. So the contact us form is completely what you create in CRM, right? For example, you can use a Zoho form as well, but just for the sake of having this demo as simple as possible, I've just used a CRM form. So you can add any fields that you want as shown here, and you can get any information that you want from the user.
Including custom fields if you wanted to have custom fields.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And what about the spamming thing?
The spamming thing is a little tricky. Unfortunately, the only thing that comes to my that's at the top of my head is you'll probably have to do some kind of a filtering. For example, if you want to set up a workflow with any of the leads that come in through the system, you might want to check the lead score first, and then set up the workflow so that you don't waste your time on any spam contacts, any junk leads.
Okay, so it doesn't do any automatically looking at, okay, these kind of emails are strange.
As far as I know, I might be wrong here, but no. the form just directly adds information directly into the CRM system.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's one thing that you can do here. So this SalesIQ, you have this lead scoring option, which Pete just mentioned. So you can choose how you want to score the different website visitors. And you can, when you're setting up a trigger, one of the rules is based on this lead score. So if you want, you can only push the leads. For example, if the people from sales, when they filling the information into the pop-up, when we wanted to go into the CRM, you can just say, let me take that integrations. So this is why you set things between your CRM and your SalesIQ. So in CRM configurations, I can just say the threshold for the lead score should be 1000. So no matter how many times they enter the email in the pop-up, unless the score touches 1000, they will only stay in the SalesIQ system. They won't be pushed into the CRM system as a lead or a contact, right? So it's one way in which you can make sure you reduce the amount of time you waste on junk leads. And the other thing is, obviously, CRM has its own set of scoring rules, right? So when you're setting up a workflow, if you've integrated SalesIQ with CRM, you'll be able to access this lead score in your workflow, and you'll be able to combine it with the CRM scoring rules that's available there also. So it's like a two-factor authentication thing. There's very little chance that you'd go wrong there. I hope that was helpful. Let me continue. So in this way, you can track your leads who voluntarily add their information into the contact form, as well as the leads you already have in your CRM. You want to start tracking them. You don't know where they're using it because there's no sign up. Say there's no sign up on your web page. Just using a link, you can start tracking their activity on the website. Right? So like I showed, the contact us form, you just say track using SalesIQ. Through the email, you just say add SalesIQ headers to the link, and that's all you need to do. And targeted lead nurturing. So this is one of the things that we just talked about, like using the scoring rules, right? So when you add these previously spoken the things that we talked about, there's a lot of leads that could come into your system, right? Maybe 2 or 3 times more number of leads you could get. And like we just spoke, there could be a lot of spam, there could be a lot of junk leads that come into the system. And when your sales and support personnel try to weed out the junk, it can get pretty discouraging. And even though there's a lot of good leads that come into the system, when you handle them as they come in, by the time you get to the 100th lead who is a genuine lead, by the time you weed through the first 99 junk leads, the 100th person might get fed up. Maybe there's nobody responding to the contact me form, and they might like take their business to a competitor, right? We definitely don't want that. So one of the things that you can do is, using these intelligent triggers, you can access the lead score, and there you can choose what kind of action you want to do. This one thing that I want to show you is, when we were talking about the lead score, combining it with the CRM data, one thing that you can do in these automatic triggers is genuine lead, right? So lead score is greater than 1000, right? So when, let's say, leave 1000, let's say 10,000, right? So when they leave the website, I can push the action, I can perform a push action to CRM. And if they're already a contact or a lead, right, I can change their lead status. If there's a pre-qualified field there, I can change it to pre-qualified. And then in CRM, you can have a workflow saying you have 100 leads in queue. The 100th lead has already been pre-qualified. Why are you wasting time with 99 potentially junk leads, right? So your salespeople can focus on one lead who will probably become, has a higher probability of becoming your customers, instead of waiting, for you to weed through those junk leads. So once you integrate between SalesIQ and CRM, you can make use of the lead score that SalesIQ gives you, and you can also make use of the workflow rules and potentially any other automation task that CRM lets you do through SalesIQ. right? And from there, you'll be able to, obviously through the workflows, you'll just be able to schedule a task, schedule a meeting, schedule a call, send a mail. When can we talk? Anything that you'd like to do, you can take it forward right from here through the CRM integration. The next thing, the real estate industry may not be suffering from this as much, but think about an e-commerce industry, right? Just to give you an idea of what's happening. For example, the help desk number is just one number. You call them and they ask you, do you have a problem with your delivery? Do you have a problem with your account information? Do you have a problem? Do you want to return your item, right? And then they transfer you to somebody else. And from there, you have to explain your whole problem to them again. And sometimes the person understands, sometimes they don't understand, and then they transfer you again, right? So there are multiple departments that you have to traverse to get a solution for your problem. Sometimes within a department, there are multiple redirections that have to be done, unfortunately, for you to find a solution to your problem. Of course, the customer is frustrated. And of course, the salesperson also is frustrated, because sometimes you feel like you don't have a purpose when a lot of the questions you answer is, how do I reset my email, my password, right? I forgot my password, how do I reset it? Such questions, you don't really need a sales or a support person to be handling it, right? So these questions can be repetitive, redundant, and sometimes when you don't get the answer, very irritating. So it's hard for the customers, and it's hard for your sales or support people to handle this kind of environment. So let's see how SalesIQ can help you with this. So like I showed you, this intelligent triggers is like the jack of all trades, right? There's so much in this that you can do. So one of the things that you can do is just you look at the current page title, let's say FAQ, right? And let's say time on the site is greater than, say, 15 minutes. So obviously you'll be able to add much more filters to this. So imagine a customer is on your FAQ page for 15 minutes, and maybe he's an introvert and they don't want to, start a conversation with someone. Or worse, maybe they're a lead, who wants to have something clarified, but they don't want to start the conversation. You don't want to miss out on customers like that, right? So one thing that you can do is take the initiative by setting up a trigger rule, right? And you start the conversation. So what you can do is you can set up as many rules as you want. So when they access any page on the website, for example, if they've accessed the FAQ page for so long, you can just send a chat invite and start the conversation and take it going. Because sometimes it's easier for them and it's easier for you to solve such problems, right? So you do that by following your customer. You can just take a look at what web, obviously not literally, you can use these filters to check what website they're on, how long they're on. Maybe they are coming to the website every single day. For example, if they're looking at your properties page every single day for 10 minutes, if they're looking at it, right, you think they might be serious, right? But maybe the lead score hasn't gone high enough for them to be pushed as a lead, right? So you can just set up a trigger and start the conversation yourself instead of waiting, right? Do you need help with anything? Can I help you with something? Do you have any question about this property or this location, right? And who knows, it could end up with you getting a customer. And knowing your customer is, obviously, since we've integrated CRM, you get other information as well. So for example, what's the CRM lead status, right? Is it a junk lead? So if it's a junk lead, you can ignore it. If it's a lost lead, you can give them more attention. For example, if the deal stage is closed won, so that means they're already a customer and now they are coming to your website and staying on your website for a particular length of time. So maybe they're thinking of buying another piece of property, right? Or maybe it was closed lost. So maybe you went through the sales cycle, but the last 2-3%, for some reason, someone dropped the ball and you lost the business to a competitor. But this person has come back. So it could be a golden opportunity for you to, seize the chance and make them your customer, right? So the sky is the limit, and you can just, SalesIQ is in a way a very simple product, but it's actually a beast, right? So it's just up to your imagination and how well you can twist these features to make the beast serve you, right? It's as simple as that. And use your best resources. For example, so this is the triggers, right? So if you go into, like I said, you'll be able to chat with the visitor directly from the SalesIQ user, the screen, the page, right? So if I go back to settings and I say chat routing, right? And here, instead of the chat going to any random user, right? Maybe this particular sales representative or support representative is known to be rude to customers, or they fail closing deals very often, right? You don't want somebody who has already been a successful customer. You don't want them to be redirected to somebody like that, right? So here, once you, let's say, closed one, right? So sorry. So let's say the stage is 1. Okay. So what you can do is you can route them to a specific operator, right? Or you can route them to the contact owner. So the contact owner could possibly be the person who won the deal the previous time. So imagine a customer who's already purchased a piece of property. 2 months later, they're coming back and I message them and saying, hey, Ron, how are you? Hey, Pete, how are you? And they're like, oh, you still remember me, right? There's an immediate connection, that spark that happens, that makes them feel, obviously we do our best to genuinely care about our customers, but 2 months is a pretty long time to remember someone, right? So there's that little spark that happens and they're impressed. They want to take the business forward because they feel appreciated, they feel valued, they feel seen, right? So instead of randomly sending them to any random salesperson or support person, you can route them to a particular operator so that you get the best outcome that you can get from any particular scenario, right? Or for example, if the deal has been lost, somebody who has a way of making people understand how your business, how your company is a lot fairer and does things a better way compared to the competitors, right? You want somebody to be able to get that point across to them. So you can redirect a lost deal, customer to somebody like that. So you can use the best resources that you have to win over your customers. And these resources don't necessarily have to be people, right? So one thing that SalesIQ has is this chat section. For example, let me just show you. You go out. Oh, sorry. So you see these articles, right? Sometimes say you're pinging you're starting a conversation on the website with a support person, right? Unfortunately, there's nobody, it's not working hours. If there's an FAQ or a screen that pops up where they can just take a look at the information there itself, instead of waiting for somebody to give them a potentially simple answer, that would make the job a lot easily for them as well as for your salespeople. If something is already in a written format, when the salesperson comes online, they're probably going to read off this, right? Or they're going to send the link to that person. So if the link is already available, if the written documentation is already available, might as well make it accessible to the user so that they don't have to wait and waste their time, right? Nobody wants to waste their time with doing anything with any business. So these articles, these FAQs can be set up in the chat section. Let me just show you how that can be done. So for example, I'll merge this with the next feature as well, Zobot. So Zobot is obviously one of the most used features of SalesIQ. You can just create the flow that you want the customer to follow, or you think the customer might follow, without the need for having a human to intervene in the process. For example, you can just add a question that says, problem. Let's try doing it. So problem, right? So like I said, not only website or native mobile applications, these bots can also work on different social media channels as well. So these features inside the bot that you're going to see, different features have support for different platforms. So when you're using it, just make sure to take a note of it, so that you don't try to implement something that hasn't come out yet. So you can choose the bot working hours. So if the operators are offline, I can have it working. If the operators are busy, I can have it working. So it's just how you decide, right? And you can choose which visitors you want the bot to talk to. For example, if a user is on the FAQ page for a long time, you can just send the bot first, ask them, what do you want? Do you not in that tone, but you can say, how can I help you? Do you want a password reset? Did you forget your username? Right? That's things like that. You don't need a human to intervene and answer, right? So stuff like that, the simple things, you can use these custom rules to get it. For now, I'll just say, right, 1 second. So this is a very so let me just click the plus icon. Let's assume this bot is configured to work on the FAQ page, right? So once this chat comes up, this bot opens the chat. I'm just going to ask them, just send them a button. Let's just use this as it is. So if they click the first option, what I can do is I can send them a link, right? If they click the second option, maybe I have an article like I showed you, the knowledge base and the FAQ article. Or the third thing, you can just connect them with pass them to the operator. So there's a lot of things that can be done by the bot that doesn't necessarily need a human sales or support person to get involved with, right? So it makes the process faster for your customers, and it makes the process easier and less redundant for your users as well. So this, again, because of network issues, I guess this didn't work. This was the one that I added the email that I sent, remember? So once the person clicked the email, SalesIQ recognized that this is the person, this is the lead that has been clicking the email, and it shows that they're already online on the website. Yeah. So there's a lot of smart ways in which the support as well as sales can be done, and SalesIQ is a very good business partner when it comes to doing that. And last one, return on investment. One way in which you advertise is you put up, let's say you put up banners, right? You put up those huge signs, right? So you wait and see which banners or catch the most attention, and what when customers call you, what locations they are looking for a real estate listing in, right? For example, they might want a house in a particular location, but you, just to be safe, you might have bought ads all over the place. You might have bought listings all over the place, but the ads might be, might catch the attention of people only in a particular place. The listings only of a particular place might be something that people are more interested in. Maybe you have good schools nearby, maybe you have nice malls nearby, something, right? So these ads as well as the sales, only after the sales process is finished do you know the outcome of it, right? So the data is very slow, but at the same time your investments are just sitting there and waiting to give you back those returns, right? So there's a slower deal closure because you have to wait for everything. Only then you'll be able to proceed with the sales cycle. So through these filters that we just saw, let me just show you this thing. So if you go into the visits, you see these page visited, right? Imagine each page was the name of a different city or the name of a particular listing. So what you can do is through CRM, oh, I lost it. So through CRM, you just go into the visits module. You just filter based on page visited, right? CRM is very good at crunching data in a way, right? Once you integrate it with Zoho Analytics, it becomes unstoppable in a way. So you can just use this data that you get from SalesIQ and use it to your advantage as much as possible. because every time somebody visits the website, there's a visit tab that's added, right? So if one person visits it 10 times, 10 visits are added. If 100 people visit it, 100 visits. So there's a lot of information that you can gather from this data, even if the sales process doesn't go to the end, right? You know what kind of location people want. So for example, if ads in Chennai, people want houses in Chennai, right? So I know that people, if they want houses here, they'll be looking around places here to find houses. So I'll know to place my ads there as well. So instead of spreading out my investment over 100 listings or 100 banners all over the place, I can do half of them in Chennai, so that people have more to choose from. I get the business. People see a lot of the ads. Again, I get the business. So not necessarily, instead of directly helping with the sales cycle and getting you successful deals, you also get a much better return on your investment by using the data that SalesIQ can give you. And obviously, there are a lot of problems for every business, right? Nowadays, the website thing is going out. There are so many ads on Instagram. You just click the get offer. There's a form that shows up there itself. You fill it out, place the order. You don't even have to leave the app, right? You don't have to go to their website and place the order. So with SalesIQ, if you integrate with Instagram, I remember showing this user interface. For example, let's say Instagram. If you add Instagram and you have an Instagram page for your business, if a user through Instagram sends you a message, that message is going to show up here in your SalesIQ messages, right? So there's no difference for you. It just makes it convenient for your visitors, and that's all that really matters, right? As long as you're able to support your customers in a way that they find convenient, there's very little chance that business is going to go away from you, right? And obviously multi-channel. We have the Mobilison SDK. So rather than just having to integrate it through social media or your website, if you have a native iOS app or an Android app or React Native app or Flutter app, you can just use the SDK, and this chat option that you can see here, this thing, you just see it on your phone, right, in your own native app. So there again, you can customize what screen they are on, how often they are visiting it, how much time they spend on it, right? And you can configure those, for example, those Zobot buttons that I showed you, you can configure it to work within the native app as well. So that's it from my side. So SalesIQ is a very, very powerful tool. The intelligent triggers itself can do so much. SalesIQ helps you to get more leads, right? It tracks leads that give you that information. The existing leads that you don't know how are using your website, you can do that as well. You can make sure that you target the leads who have the higher probability of becoming your actual customers. Instead of having to wade through a lot of junk leads, you can focus on the leads who are more than have a higher probability of becoming customers, right? Using the CRM scoring rules as well, by using the SalesIQ's lead score as well, you can combine those and get the best of it. And obviously, you can see which page your customers on. For example, if you have two different departments, if you have sales as a separate department, if you have renting as a separate department, if you have renovation as a separate department, or you just have support, right? You don't want them to contact support and then talk to them, explain the situation, and then have to be redirected to renovation or sales, right? So based on which part of the website they're on, you can just support them directly, so that your sales and support people have a more fun, productive time working, rather than it being redundant and like they're feeling like they are not doing much. And it helps your customers as well, because they get support as soon as possible. And obviously, like we saw, you can gather a lot of information about where you can focus your advertisements, where you can invest on more, in more properties, so you can get back your investments sooner. And obviously, if you have a mobile app, or if you are using other channels, you can integrate SalesIQ and support your customers there as well.